set the mood. Hare Krishna. Over to you.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Radha Gopinath, Radha Gopinath, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Sita Lakshman Hanuman Jaya, Sita Lakshman Hanuman Jaya, Sita Lakshman Hanuman Jaya, Sita Lakshman Hanuman Jaya, Gauranitai, Jaya, Gauranitai, Jaya, Gauranitai, Jaya, Panchatattva Jaya, Panchatattva Jaya, Panchatattva Jaya, Panchatattva, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada Jaya, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari 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 Bol. Thank you so much, Vinamadi Mataji. That was very nice, sweet Kirtan. Just perfect to set the mood. So, warm welcome on a Sunday afternoon to all the dear devotees, wherever you're dialing in from, Manchester or nearby. We hope you and your families are safe and are keeping well. Welcome to part 2 of our series, Life Lessons from Ramayana. Today again, we have His Grace Shubhavilash Prabhu. Shubhavilash Prabhu is a renowned motivational speaker and he's author of various best-selling books. His books are based on leadership, lifestyle coaching, and all his talks and writings are based on lessons from Ramayana. So we are very, very fortunate today. He's taken time out again, second week in a row, to spend or share his wisdom with us and enlighten us. on lessons from Ramayana. Without much ado, further ado, I'll hand over the stage to His Grace Shrivilas Prabhu. Shrivilas Prabhu, Om Hare Krishna from ISKCON
Hare
Manchester.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Very happy and grateful to be amidst all of you all here today. Before I begin, I'll just offer a few prayers. Shri Chaitanya Novishtam Stapitam Yena Swayam Dadati Swapadam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Lalita Shri Satam Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Jagatpate Gopesha Tapta Kanchana Gandhi Radhe Vanda Vaneshwari Vishabhanu Shri Pramani Panchapalpurvescha Vasamyo Devachan Patitanam Pavani Vishnu Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Very, very happy and grateful to be amidst all of you all here. It's called Manchester. I almost said Toronto. I've been doing sessions in so many places. I just lose track of where I'm doing a session with. I'm so very grateful to be amidst all of you all here today. And I'm going to share with you all something from the Ramayana that will blow your mind off. You will not just love it, you will madly love it. And I can assure you, this is a section of Ramayana that you would have never ever heard in your life. But it's such an amazing section, such an amazing part of the Ramayana. Every devotee must hear this. Yes, Prabhu.
Just a quick request to all the devotees. Sorry to interrupt, Prabhu. We apologize if the sound quality is not the best. It just means that you'll have to drop everything you're doing, pay full attention to Prabhu, and listen and take his message. And so please bear with us on that. Thank you.
I don't know. I mean, from an internet point of view, I have the best internet, and I've been giving sessions all the time. I don't know. Sometimes it happens that it's not okay, but I guess we have to do with what we have.
Please go ahead. Thank you.
For the best quality sound, I'll have to come to Manchester someday.
Definitely, bro. You said it, it will happen. Krishna says, words of my devotee, he will fulfill. There you go.
Great. Before I start speaking, I'll just give you a little brief to give you all a background of where I'm taking you all in the Ramayana. I'm taking you all to Kishkinda. This is a place where the Vanaras live. And this is the place where Ram spent 4 months of the rainy season. And I'm going to take you to the cave where Ram spent 4 months. And I'm going to discuss what Ram did in those 4 months in the cave. So that's what today's session is going to be about. And we're going to be discussing some really amazing thoughts on what to do in lockdown. So technically, Ram was in lockdown for 4 months in a cave. He and Lakshman, nobody else could come in, nobody else could go out. And they really didn't venture out anywhere else because the rainy season was so intense that they spent those 4 months there. Nobody from Kishkinda came to meet them, and they didn't go to Kishkinda at all. So technically, they are exactly in the same situation that many of us are today. So it's great to know what they did in that situation. And by the way, Mother Sita spent 10 months in lockdown in Ashok Vatika in Lanka. So the history of lockdown is not new. It's a very ancient, old history. But we just need to look at it in a new perspective in our context, basically. And there is a place in India, in Karnataka, known as Hampi. This is where Kishkinda is today at this point in time. And in Hampi, there is a place, there's a mountain known as Malyavanta Parvat. That's the mountain on which Ram spent 4 months. If you go to that mountain even today, there's a temple of Lord Ram there. And the temple is actually inside a cave. If you actually go, there's a structure built, but if you actually go inside the Garbhagriha with the altar is actually a cave. And it's beautiful. That is the only place in the entire world where Ram is sitting. He's not standing. And Ram doesn't have a bow in his hand. He doesn't have arrows in his hand. He has a japamala in his hand. He has beads in his hand. And 4 months, he has been chanting the names of Mother Sita in that cave. So you can imagine how powerful that cave must have been. So I'm going to share what happened in that cave for those 4 months and the various thoughts that Ram went through in those 4 months. And it's so very beautiful when you look at it from this perspective. The rainy season is happening all over. You know, they are inside a cave, and outside the cave, it's like heavy rains, and there's a forest all over. Lakshmana and Rama inside the cave. Most of the time, Ram spends his time chanting the names of Mother Sita. And occasionally, he sits on the edge of the cave and looks outside. And when he looks outside, he sees the beauty of nature. Everything Ram sees outside reminds him of Mother Sita, reminds him of his connections with Mother Sita. And Ram, when he's looking at things in nature, he is correlating all that with so many aspects of his own life. And it's so beautiful. I call this as open-eyed meditations. This is where I got the name of my book from. This is what Ram did. Kept his eyes open and meditating on the world, on the nature around. And so many ideas were flooding into his mind. So the interesting part was, in the cave where Ram was sitting, there was absolute silence, except the chanting of Sita's names. And outside the cave, there was rains, intense rains, right? So they couldn't hear anything else except the rains. But once in a while, when the rain stopped, they would hear music from Kishkinda. Non-stop parties going on in Kishkinda. Non-stop, all day long parties going on. And if you have heard this sound of these beats, when disco music goes on and when the parties goes on, very strange kind of sounds. So you can imagine, on the mountain, outside Kishkinda, it's very sober. And, in Kishkinda, the atmosphere is totally different. So while Ram and Lakshman were in the cave on this mountain, as I said, they hardly slept also. Most of the times they would be awake, very, very little they would sleep, basically. Because most of the time they were in concern of Mother Sita. And Ram, as I said, he spent most of his time contemplating, chanting the names of Sita or thinking. One day, Ram looked outside the cave. This was just the beginning of the rainy season, just when the first rains hit. And he saw the black rain clouds. The cave was quite on top, on top of the mountain. And naturally, the black clouds were actually visible right in front of Ram's eyes. And when Ram saw these black clouds, black rain clouds, he considered, he had a thought. For him, these black rain clouds seemed to be like a pregnant woman. Pregnancy lasts for 9 months and then delivery happens, right? So similarly, there is, the rain clouds develop over 9 months and then they drop the rains. So if you look at the rainy season, it's usually 4 months, right? And the remaining 8 months are non-rainy seasons. So Ram is saying it takes 8 months for the rain clouds to develop. And after 8-9 months, then they drop rain. Just like a pregnant woman takes 9 months to hold the child in her womb, develop it, and then she gives delivery. So when the clouds are compared to a woman who has been pregnated by the sun's rays. And the clouds absorb water from the ocean and deliver rain. And from this, Ram derives a very important point. What does he derive? The point that he derives is that everything in nature tests one's patience before offering a reward. Nothing happens quickly in nature. 9 months, you have to wait patiently, right? What is the context in which Ram is speaking this? The context in which Ram is speaking this is his own life. 4 months, he has to just wait over there for the rains to get over. Imagine, he's God. He could have solved his own problem so easily. But though he is God, sometimes even he has to wait for 4 months. He can't do anything. Not all problems of life have quick solutions. We all expect quick solutions to the problems of life, right? We have a problem, immediately we should get a solution. No, not all problems of life have immediate solution. Krishna was born in Mathura. Why? What was the purpose of Krishna's birth? One of the purposes was to kill Kamsa. But the day he was born, he went to Vrindavan. And for 11.5 years, he never returned back only. So he came, and then after 11.5 years, when he came back to Mathura, and he saw Kamsa, in 5 minutes, he killed Kamsa. If you read that section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's actually a letdown, you know. I mean, imagine it's been building up that Krishna has come to kill Kamsa. It's building up so much. But when actually Kamsa and Krishna come in front of each other, 5 minutes, that's all. Krishna gives 3-4 blows to Kamsa and he dies. Yeah, when I read that section for the first time, I felt so let down, you know. I felt so, I mean, at least there should have been Kamsa should have put up a fight, right? At least something should have happened over there. Nothing happened. Kamsa just died like that, you know. So we all expect solutions to the problems of life quickly. But Krishna is trying to tell us, yes, problems can get solved quickly, but not at your speed. Take your own time. 11 years, he didn't come back only to solve the problem that he came to solve first. Ram is sitting here. He has a big problem. He's lost his wife. 4 months he's sitting in the cave doing nothing. What does it teach us? It teaches us to be patient. In nature, nothing happens quickly. It takes its own time. When Ram saw the earth and the first rain hit the earth, you know, the earth was hot, scorching heat. If you have experienced Indian summers, you'll understand this. Scorching heat. And the rain clouds are dropping water on the ground. And as soon as the rain hits the ground is rid of all the agony, the pain. Similarly, Ram felt Sita must be so hot in separation from him. There's a heat of separation. And her tears are like the rain that is hitting the hot body of Sita. When the tears hit the hot body of Sita, it at least cools down the heat of separation that Sita must be experiencing. And then Ram looks at the rains and the torrential rainfall, and the entire place becomes lush green. He sees there is celebration everywhere. There is so many different sounds coming, which is creating like a musical symphony. The frogs are croaking, the bees are humming, there's rumbling of the clouds, there's gurgling of the rivers, the songs of so many different colored birds, rhythm of the rainfall. All this combined together to create music, which makes the peacocks dance. And the peacocks are dancing to the music that is being created, the symphony that is being created. And what is the stage on which the peacock is dancing? The peacock is dancing on a colorful stage. The forest floor is filled with different colored flowers. And the floor has so many beautiful colored flowers, and the peacocks are dancing over it. And Ram, when he looks at the earth, it looks like a woman who's wearing a green sari. Huge green sari, The earth is covered by this beautiful green sari. And the insects, there are insects over there, red color insects. They are like the embroidery on the sari, decorating the beautiful sari of Mother Nature. And from Ram's perspective, when he sees the waterfalls coming from the mountains, the waterfalls represents like the necklace, the pearl necklace that this lady is wearing. So Ram is, comparing this to the beauty of Mother Sita. And all this is happy. Everyone is happy. The whole atmosphere is blissful. Everyone is happy except two people. Ram and Lakshman are miserable inside this cave. And Ram and Lakshman are constantly lost in thoughts of Sita and in pain of separation. One day, Ram saw many streams of water coming down from a mountain, from different directions of the mountain. And these different streams of water form a pool, a water pool. And instantly Ram thought of an analogy. He tells Lakshman, this is exactly how virtues or good qualities find their way into the heart of a noble soul. A man does not need to go and search for them. These good qualities automatically enter into his heart. What a comparison. Ram is comparing all these different waterfalls coming in to good qualities that enter into the heart of a devotee. Now, every devotee we're all aspiring to become devotees of the Lord, right? But as we chant the holy names and as we aspire to become devotees, good qualities automatically find their way into your heart. And the most amazing thing is, when good qualities find their way into your heart, your face shows a difference. One time, one of our devotees was traveling in one of those Gulf countries, and he was caught by the immigration. The customs, they caught him. They wanted to check his bag. He opened his bag, checked thoroughly, closed it, let him go. After some time, again he was caught. Again they checked the bag. Again they let him go. Third time they caught him again. And they made him open his bag. He asked him, what's happening? What's wrong? Again and again, why are you catching me? You know what that man said? That man said, you seem to be too happy. Something is wrong with you. Something is seriously wrong with you. You seem to be too happy. This devotee was not even dressed in devotee clothes. He was wearing regular clothes. He's not wearing tilak or anything. So this man, this complete stranger, when he saw a devotee, he just made this comment. You seem to be too happy. Something is wrong with you. So when a devotee practices his spiritual life, good qualities find their way into his heart. This is what Ram says. And then Ram, he saw a newly grown leaf of a tree. When he saw this beautiful leaf of a tree, he looked at Lakshman and he said, this leaf looks like fresh green, like the mind of a struggling soul who has just attained spiritual life. Look at the comparison. And it's very beautiful if you look at it from our point of view. When we come into ISKCON in the initial stages, the first few months, first few weeks of coming into ISKCON, our mind is fresh. Our mind is beautiful. We're so excited, and there's no negativity. There is no aparad, there's no offense. We don't find faults with anybody. Pure. So Ram is comparing this newly grown leaf to the cheerful mind of someone who has just taken up spiritual path. What an amazing comparison, right? And then Ram, one day he was looking at a mountain, at heavy torrential rain hitting on a mountain. Heavy rains hitting on a mountain, for a long period. And after a long period of looking at it, Ram made a comment. He told Lakshman, just like the mountains are being battered by the rain so badly, similarly, a saintly person, no matter how much he is showered wicked words, unkind words, the saintly person remains unaffected. What an amazing analogy. He's comparing the mountain to a saintly person, and he's comparing the battering of the rain, the hitting of the rain on the mountain, to wicked people hurling abuses, hurling criticism at saintly people. And he's saying a saintly person remains unaffected by all this criticism that falls on him. And then one day, Ram looks outside the cave. What he sees outside the cave is amazing. He doesn't see the forest at all. He only sees clouds. Sometimes the clouds come really low. If you have noticed, especially when the clouds are laden with water, they're heavy rain clouds. They come really low. So Ram could see only clouds outside his cave, heavy rain clouds. And he made a very beautiful comment to Lakshman. He said, these low-hanging clouds, which are filled with water, are compared to an intelligent person who grows in humility with the growth of his knowledge. So when you're filled with knowledge, you actually become humble. When you don't have knowledge, you're very light and you're floating in the sky. But when you actually are filled with knowledge, you actually come to the ground. You become more grounded, basically. So Ram is comparing these low-lying clouds, which are filled with water, to the humility of an intelligent person filled with knowledge. One night, something amazing happens. Lakshman and Ram were sleeping inside the cave. One night, thousands of fireflies enter into the cave. Thousands of fireflies, glittering, entering into the cave, basically. So Ram looks at these fireflies and makes a comment. He tells Lakshman, these fireflies are like a band of hypocrites. They emit light not to decrease darkness, but they emit light to show off their presence. What an amazing comparison. He calls these fireflies as hypocrites. I don't know if any of you have seen fireflies. Fireflies are like little tiny insects, and you hold them on a finger, they just light up one tip of your finger. It doesn't even light that up properly. So that means the light that they emit cannot light up anything, basically. So Ram is comparing these fireflies to hypocrites. So hypocrites emit light not to decrease darkness. They emit light to show off that I have come. So that means what is light? What is this emitting light compared to? Emitting light is compared to any qualities that you may have, any talent that you may have, any skill that you may have. Why do you exhibit that skill? A lot of people exhibit the skill to show that I have it. But actually great people, when they exhibit the skill, they exhibit it to benefit somebody else, to help somebody else. Getting rid of darkness means serving society, using that skill to benefit society. And just emitting light, what does it mean? It means just showing off with it, basically. So a lot of people use their talents just to show off. But ideally, talent should be used to benefit others. So Lakshman, spends so many days with Ram in this way, helping him deal with his pain, just being there to assist Ram in whatever way he can, the little fruits he would get, and that's all. So after this whole 4 months of rainy season get over, at the end of the 4 months of rainy season, there is no sign from Sugriva. In fact, the rains start decreasing slowly, and though the rains are decreasing, the party is going on there non-stop. The sound of music and the drums is coming constantly from Kishkinda. So Ram tells Lakshman, 4 months of rainy season are over, but this guy has not come back. Sugriva has not come back. I think we should go and scare him a little bit. Lakshman tells Ram, I'll go and kill him. Ram tells him, hey, wait a minute, I didn't tell you to kill him. I only told you to scare him. See, as I said, time is very relative. The 4 months of rainy season, how they passed for Ram and Lakshman, they only know. Every second seemed to be like a yuga. But in Kishkinda, the 4 months passed like that. When you are doing something that you love, some fun thing, time passes just like that. In a lecture, 1 hour doesn't pass at all, So that's how time is relative in nature. So here for Kishkinda, 4 months just passed. And for Ram and Lakshman, it seems such a long time. So when Ram hears Lakshman saying that he'll go and kill him, Ram said, no, wait. Let me explain. See, Lakshman functions in binary. What is binary? 1 or 0. Either he loves somebody fully or or he kills a person. There's nothing in between for Lakshman. You know? So if Sugriva is not helping, he said, I won't kill him. We'll make Angad the king. Ram said, no, it doesn't work like that. And Ram gave Lakshman a very beautiful understanding of what is the meaning of scaring Sugriva. He said, don't scare him that much that he comes running towards me. But don't scare him so much that he runs away from me. So Lakshman understands, you know. In spiritual life, fear is a very important factor. Every single person should have a little bit of fear. If fear is not there, you won't practice spiritual life nicely. But the fear should be a healthy amount of fear. If you have the right amount of fear, you will run towards God. But if you have too much fear, you run away from God. So here, Ram and Lakshman, you know, when Ram explains this to Lakshman, Lakshman understands. And then he goes and deals with Sugriva in the right way. Of course, when Sugriva is reminded, he immediately understands his problem. He understands that I need to come back and surrender to Lord Ram. And he comes back and he actually becomes obedient after that. In Kishkinda, the monkeys are called Vanaras. What is the meaning of the word Vanara? The word Vanara comes from the word Nara. Nara means human. And the word Vanara is a question. Are you human? It's a question that all of us have to ask ourselves. Are you human? What is the meaning of are you human? It means to the extent you behave in the right way, you are human. To the extent you behave in the wrong way, you are a monkey. So the Vanaras in Kishkinda, they are a very special species. And if you look at Ramayan is technically organized in such a way that the Vanara community is in between. Ayodhya is way up in the north and Lanka is way down in the south. And right in between is Kishkinda, where the Vanaras exist. Ayodhya, people are perfect, pure, absolutely wonderful. In Lanka, people are imperfect, impure, absolutely ridiculous. In Kishkinda, people are in between. Sometimes they act pure, sometimes they act impure, just like us. Early in the morning, if anybody looks at us, they will think that we are pure devotees, chanting the holy names, wearing tilak and wearing, acting like, if anybody looks at us early in the morning, they will think that this guy is going to the spiritual world tomorrow. But as the day progresses, if you keep looking at us, our behavior changes, And by evening, we are total demons, basically. By the end of the day, we are absolute demons. We belong more to Lanka than to anywhere else. So in the morning, we begin from Ayodhya consciousness. And as the day progresses, slowly we go towards Lanka consciousness. That's what the reality of our life is. Kishkinda is in between. And Kishkinda is a place where different types of monkeys live. There's a Bali type of monkey, there's a Hanumanji type of monkey, and there's a Sugriva type of monkey. Bali type of monkey are very clear. Their role is to destroy. So Bali's consciousness is very much like Ravan's consciousness. And if you study Ravan and Bali's personality, they match quite a bit. Ravan and Bali were best friends for a reason, for many, many reasons. And their behaviors were exactly the same. So Bali type of monkeys, their mindset is exactly like Lanka. And then you find Hanumanji type of monkeys, their behavior is exactly like Ayodhya. And that's why Hanumanji is worshipped. Hanumanji is glorified. Hanumanji is appreciated so much. Because Hanumanji's consciousness is Ayodhya consciousness. But the problem is monkeys like Sugriva. So monkeys like Hanumanji, they're very clear what they want in life. And monkeys like Bali, they're very, very clear what they want in life. The confused guys are in between, Sugriva type of monkeys. And the Sugriva type of monkeys are like us. Sometimes we want this, and sometimes we want this. Sometimes we behave like pure devotees. And sometimes we behave like total non-devotees. Sometimes we are good, sometimes we are bad. And therefore, Sugriva-like monkeys have to ask themselves this question, Vanara, are you human? And the interesting thing about Sugriva is that whenever he comes in front of Lord Ram, he comes disguised as a human being. Sugriva has this ability to change his form at will. Many of the Vanaras in Kishkinda have this ability to change their form. And Sugriva, typically, when he goes to meet Lord Ram, he changes his form to a human form and goes. You know why? Because for him, when I look human, I am human. A lot of us, we look human, right? But that's where the problem begins. The thing is, being human is very different from looking human. From Sugriva's point of view, looking human is more important. But from Hanumanji's point of view, looks don't matter. Being human is more important. So Hanumanji never believes in changing his form. He is what he is. He just takes the form that he is, unless he is forced by somebody. Many times Sugriva forces him to change the form. Otherwise, Hanumanji never changes his form. He is just the way he is. Why? Because he understands, I don't have to work on my looks. I need to work on my character. That is the difference between Hanumanji's consciousness and the consciousness of Sugriva. Sugriva represents a struggling sadhaka, like all of us. We're all vanaras. We're all struggling sadhakas. We need reminders. Ram helped Sugriva, and he's supposed to be grateful to Ram, right, for what he helped. But he forgets. He forgets to be grateful. And if he's reminded, then suddenly he remembers and he becomes grateful. All of us, when we hear a lecture on gratitude, 2-3 days we'll be very, very grateful people. After that, we forget again, So we need constant reminders to tell us that we are human, behave like humans. Vanaras like Hanumanji, they don't need reminders because they consciously act on higher truths of life, higher aspects of life. Vanaras like Sugriva, they need reminders because they behave according to whom they associate with. When Sugriva associates with Bali like monkeys, he behaves like Bali. He behaves like a demon. And when Sugriva associates with Hanumanji like monkeys, he behaves like a great devotee. So it is very important to define whom you associate with. It is very important to define what your connections are. And therefore, Lord Ram, when he had to make a choice between Sugriva and Bali, he chose Sugriva over Bali. Though Bali was more powerful than Sugriva. Why did Ram choose Sugriva over Bali? Technically, if you see, Sugriva was less powerful. Bali was more powerful. In fact, Bali had defeated Ravan also. And Bali had conquered Ravan. So now, why would Ram choose Sugriva instead of choosing Bali? Technically, if Ram wanted to win against Ravan, he should have chosen Bali because Bali was more powerful. Bali was more resourceful. He was already a king. He was already having all the resources. But still, Ram chooses Sugriva for many reasons. One of the reasons that Ram chooses Sugriva is Sugriva has one good quality that Bali doesn't have. In fact, two. One quality of Sugriva is that he runs very fast. Why is running very fast so important? Because whom does Sugriva run away from? Sugriva runs away from Bali. So Bali's good quality or strength was his power. He could kill Sugriva easily. He was very powerful. But Sugriva's good quality was he was fast. So Ram chose Sugriva over Bali because he could run very fast. What is the meaning of running very fast? Running very fast simply means that Sugriva could run away from Bali. Bali represents pride. All of us, if we have to have one quality in our life, which is very important quality that we need for our spiritual practice, it is this one quality. What is the quality? You should be very fast and running away from pride. If you are really fast from running away from pride, Ram will choose you. You don't have to be powerful. Ram is already powerful. You don't have to be intelligent. Ram is already intelligent. You don't have to be knowledgeable. You don't have to be resourceful. Ram is all that. You only have to be fast. Run fast from pride. And then Ram can use you. So Ram tells Sugriva, go and challenge Bali. So Sugriva asks Ram, my dear Ram, you're telling me to go and challenge Bali. I will go and challenge him. But who will kill him? Ram tells him, I will kill him. Don't worry. You just go and challenge him. That's exactly what Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. Nimitta matra bhavasavya sachi. He tells him, you fight, I will kill. The message of the Gita, the message of the Ramayana is exactly the same. In fact, every verse that Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita has a story in the Ramayana. The best commentary on Bhagavad Gita is Ramayana actually. So every single verse of the Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses, have one story in the Ramayana that can actually make us understand the verse properly. So here, Krishna is telling Arjun, you fight and just be an instrument in my hand. I will do everything. That's exactly what Ram is telling Sugriva. You go and fight. Sugriva is asking, who's going to kill Bali? Ram says, I'll kill. And that's exactly what we need to do in our spiritual lives. What do we need to do? We need to go and try. We need to go and show that we are trying. We may not be able to actually do anything. We are powerless. We are useless. We are hardly having any strength. But the only thing we need to show from our side is sincerity, the desire to serve. And then the resource comes. The Lord has enough power, enough resources, and enough strength to deal with it. A very beautiful part I thought I should share with you all is when Hanumanji meets Mother Sita. Some very fascinating discussions happen between Hanumanji and Sita. One of the discussions is, when Hanumanji just appears in Ashok Vatika, he sees Mother Sita and he sees that Sita is in trouble. Ravan comes and harasses her a lot, and then Ravan goes away. The demonesses, the 700 demonesses who are around Sita, they harass her a lot, and she is really petrified. She's losing hope. It's been 10 months. She decides to end her life. She puts her hair around her neck and hangs the hair on a tree branch. And she's just going to let go and die. Hanumanji is sitting on top of the tree. And he's wondering, what should I do to save Sita? He thinks, if I jump down right in front of her, she might think that I am Ravan, who's come disguised as a monkey. And she might just let go. Or she might just get scared and she will not have faith in me. So Hanuman very carefully thought, what is that thing that will help Sita calm down, have hope? And he realized the only thing that will help Sita have hope is Ram Katha. And Hanuman begins reciting Ramayana, sitting on top of the tree. And he has taken a tiny form. He's hiding behind a leaf and he's reciting Ramayana. And as Sita hears the narration of Ram Katha, she actually slows down. She suddenly feels hope. Who is this speaking so beautifully about Ram in Lanka? So she removes her hair and she sits down. And she looks up to see if she can see the speaker. She can't see him. Why? Hanuman is hiding behind a leaf. This is technically the first Ram Katha that is happening in the world. The speaker is sitting on top and the audience is sitting below. From that time onwards, the style has been exactly the same. The Kathakar, the narrator, gets to sit on top and the hearer gets to sit below. And Sita, when she was looking up, she was trying to find Hanuman, but she couldn't see him. This is the mood of a good narrator of Ram Katha, Hari Katha. What is the mood of a good narrator? The mood of a good narrator is that he should make the Lord visible and keep himself hidden. But today, if you look at all the narrators of Ram Katha, Krishna Katha today, they keep themselves ahead and keep the Lord hidden behind them. Right? You go to Vrindavan and you see these huge posters of Bhagavad Sapta and this and that. You see the photo of the person who is doing it. Somewhere in one corner, small little here, you will find Krishna's photo, if at all, basically. So Hanumanji was such a narrator, such an amazing narrator, that he kept himself hidden and he brought Ram ahead. And Sita was so inquisitive to see who is speaking. That's what should happen. When you speak Ram Katha and Krishna Katha, the audience should be eager to see you, but you shouldn't be eager to expose yourself to the audience, basically. And then Hanumanji finally, when he saw Sita was really prepared, he jumped in front of her. And when he jumped in front of her, Sita kind of got a little scared and she turned her face away. I mean, imagine a monkey jumps in front of you. Anybody would get a little scared, right? So she just turned her face away for a moment. And then later on, much later, when they reached Ayodhya and all, one day when they were peaceful, Sita called Hanumanji and she asked him, the first time you came in front of me, I turned my face away. Did you feel bad about it? Sita asked Hanumanji like that. You know what Hanumanji told her? Hanumanji told her, my dear mother, what was worthy of hearing you heard, and what was not worthy of seeing you didn't see. Look at the mood of Hanumanji. Look at the consciousness of this person, And Sita was really so touched by those words. And then during the conversation, so many things happened, and at one point Hanumanji tells Mother Sita, why don't you come with me? I will take you to Lord Ram. I will take you, forget this Lanka and forget all this. I will just take you straight away. And Sita is wondering, how is this such a tiny monkey going to take me? She's like not able to fathom. So Hanumanji takes this tiny form for a reason. Many reasons. One of the reasons is that when Hanuman comes in front of Sita, he wants to hear the word son from Sita. Putra, or son from Mother Sita. He wants to hear that word. And he thinks, what form should I take that will bring out the motherly affection from Sita? Naturally, if you're small, that motherly affection comes out, right? But if you're big, motherly affection doesn't come out so easily. So that is why Hanuman had taken a tiny form to appear in front of Mother Sita. So when he says, I will take you, Sita doubts him. But she doesn't want to ask him directly because she's also sensitive. She feels he'll feel bad if I ask him directly. So she asks a very indirect question. She asks Hanumanji, are all the monkeys of Ram's army same size as you? Because she has seen Ravan's army, she has seen the size of all the demons in Ravan's army. She's wondering, how is Ram going to conquer Ravan, such a massive army with these Lilliputs, all these tiny guys, So Hanumanji understands her doubt immediately. And Hanuman expands himself, huge form he takes. And Sita is shocked seeing the massive size of Hanumanji. And then she asks him an amazing question. She asks Hanumanji, what is your original size? What is your original size? Are you small? Are you big? Are you medium size? Imagine if somebody's size keeps changing all the time. How do you get clothes for him? How do you get shoes for him? So Sita just asked him, what is your original size? And Hanuman gave an amazing answer, which actually is a definition of humility. Hanuman tells Mother Sita that, my dear mother, originally I'm small, I'm insignificant. But for the mission of the Lord, I can take any size. What an amazing definition of humility. I have never come across a definition of humility better than this. In ISKCON, sometimes we have a wrong understanding of what humility is. You tell someone, please, can you do this seva? That person says, no, Prabhuji, I'm so insignificant, I'm useless, and I'm lower than a woman's stool. And we don't want to take up service. Actually, it's not humility, it's laziness, which we give the name of humility, basically. But look at Hanumanji's answer. It's just so amazing. He says, I'm insignificant, I'm small. But for the mission of the Lord, I can take any size. What does size indicate? Size means responsibility. So, Hanumanji is not fearing responsibility. He may be small, but he knows that the Lord can do anything through me. And that confidence, the combination of knowing that I'm small and yet I can do great things, that's what humility is about. And that definition of humility, I feel, is something that every devotee should actually imbibe. So Hanumanji, in this little meeting with Mother Sita, it touches Sita's heart so much. When Hanuman is offering the ring to Mother Sita, Lord Ram's ring, he hands, you can give the ring in any way, right? You can give the ring like this, you can give the ring like this. Hanuman does something amazing while handing over the ring to Mother Sita. He holds the ring on his palm like this. He holds the ring like this on his palm. And he hands it like this to Sita. Sita picks it up from his palm. You know why Hanumanji does that? Because Hanuman thinks, if I give like this, it means I am the giver. That means I am bigger than her, right? I am giving her something. But if she takes from me, she is bigger. So Hanumanji doesn't even want to show that I am giving something. Look at the consciousness of this personality. Look at the consciousness with which all these great souls think and they behave. So Ramayana is not just a book of, it's not just a story that's like that everybody knows. Ramayana is actually an ocean. It has such amazing depth. Now, I've been studying the Ramayana for the last 8 years, and more than that. But every time I read something, every time I understand something, every time I try to contemplate on it, there is so much more. There is so much more to understand. And therefore, I called my series as Ramayana, the Game of Life, because it's so much connected with our life. The Mahabharata and Ramayana are very interesting. The Mahabharata teaches us the realities of life, but the Ramayana teaches us the ideal standards. Just like if you go to a house, I mean, what do you see on the wall? You go to anybody's house, you see the picture, a photo of the family, right? Husband, wife, 2 children, all smiling, very well dressed, photograph on the wall. Have you ever seen anybody's, if you're sick, you go to a doctor, the doctor tells you to take an X-ray, right? Have you seen your own X-ray? It's very scary, isn't it? Yes, this chest X-ray, It's a very scary thing. Have you ever seen anybody put their X-ray on the wall? My inside picture. You will never find X-ray on the wall. You will always find photograph on the wall. Beautiful. So that inside picture is Mahabharata. That's our reality. Mahabharata is fight. Our reality is war, basically. But we want to reach Ramayana. The standard, the ideal standard is set in the Ramayana, basically. So Mahabharata is our reality. A lot of people cannot relate to Ramayana. Why? Because they say it's too high standard. It's too much. How they are so perfect, That's the standard we have to reach. But the standard at which we are right now is Mahabharata. In Mahabharata, everyone has problems. In Mahabharata, everyone is wrong. In Mahabharata, everyone makes mistakes, basically. But in Ramayana, it's a totally different level, basically. So what is our journey of life? Our journey of life is to go from Mahabharata to Ramayana. So one day, someday in the future, we will reach the standard that Ramayana is setting for us. But for that, we should know what the standard is. Therefore, we study the Ramayana, which teaches us ideal standards of what great devotees are, how they think, how they behave, how they contemplate, and how they deal with one another. Hare Krishna. Stop here. Any questions, comments, discussions, please?
Thank you, Shobhilashro. That was really wonderful. I think I made 12 points. I don't know how many other devotees made, but every single point was so practical. It was as if you were talking to me directly, asking me to improve. I'm hoping that I can make some positive change in my own devotional life based on your inputs. All your messages and more are collated in Prabhu's wonderful book, and this one's Open-Eyed Meditation we have in stock, along with all of his other 15 titles. So his 16 titles are available in Manchester. We all have an issue with retention. Today we were this lecture. After a day or two, our memory will start to fail, and then the books will help. So please get in touch. Thank you, Shobhilashro, once again. Very, very wonderful. Certainly some episodes of Ramayana which we weren't privy to so far. So thank you for shining the light on those elements and presenting them as gems. We'll open the house now for any questions and answers. We have the next 20-25 minutes or so. Thank you once again for all the 50 plus devotees who are logged in on Zoom and YouTube. Please feel free to ask any questions. We'll just give everyone a couple of minutes to raise any hands. You can either unmute yourself or raise your hand or just type in your question, whatever you prefer. Meena Mataji, you'd like to ask?
Yes, please, yes.
Go for it.
Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. I just got a couple of questions to ask. One is why it is called Sundarkand? That's one question. The second question is, what are the Astasiddhi and Navnidhi which was given to him by Sitaji? And the third question is, there are so many times Neti is coming in the Ramayana. What does Neti means? I've read Ramayana a few times, but so many times it is coming Neti. What does that mean? Please, thank you.
So the first question, why is it called Sundarkand? There are many reasons why it is called Sundarkand. The word Sundar means beautiful. And there are many things in the Sundarkand that are beautiful, which is why Valmiki calls it a Sundarkand. If you actually study the Ramayana, all the Kands are called according to the events that happened there. Bala Kand is the childhood of Rama.
Yes.
Ayodhya Kand is events of Ayodhya. Aranya Kand is events of Aranya. Kishkinda Kand is events of Kishkinda. Yuddha Kand is events of the war, basically. But Sundar Kand is different. It's named differently. The Sundar, the beauty, refers to many things. Let me list out some of the things that it refers to. One is Hanumanji in his childhood. Anjana, his mother, had originally named him as Sundar. So the original name of Hanumanji is Sundar. So the Sundar Kand actually refers to Hanumanji. Yeah, that's one of the reasons. The second is the beauty of the character of Hanumanji comes out in this Sundar Kand. So that beauty that is referred to is a character of Hanumanji that comes out throughout the Sundarkand. Therefore, it is called Sundarkand. It is also called Sundarkand because in this section of the Sundarkand, Hanumanji describes the beauty of Lord Ram to Mother Sita. And the description of the beauty of Ram that Sita hears from Hanumanji is so mesmerizing. Therefore, the section is called Sundarkand. And it also talks about the character of Mother Sita, which is beautiful. And therefore, it is called Sundarkand. And in addition to all this, the beauty of Lanka is described as Sundarkand, very, very elaborately. And therefore, it is called Sundarkand. So these are many, many reasons why it is called Sundarkand as far as the second question is concerned, what was the second question? Remind me.
Hanumanji is in Hanuman Chalisa. We say Ashta Siddhi Navnidhi.
Oh yeah.
So what are the Ashta Siddhi and Navnidhi?
Yeah. If you want to study Ashta Siddhi and Navnidhi that Hanumanji speaks about which is associated with Hanumanji, I will recommend you something.
Okay.
I have an entire chapter in one of my books called Hanuman Chalisa. I've written an entire book on Hanuman Chalisa. Every verse of Hanuman Chalisa described in elaborate details. So in this verse of Ashtasiddhi Navnidhi Ke Data, in that verse, I have described the story behind the Ashtasiddhi Navnidhi that Sita gives Hanumanji. So my suggestion is, if I get into that, it will be like a very elaborate discussion. My suggestion is you pick that up and read it. You will get a lot of insights into into this aspect. Okay. As far as the Neti aspect, are you talking about Tulsidasji's Ramayana?
Yeah, Tulsidasji's Ramayana. Yeah.
So, see, I don't know the context in which you are talking, which is mentioned. So, if you can just tell me one or two contexts, I can probably tell you what it means or what is the context. But I can tell you philosophically what the word 1980 means. Usually, there are two approaches towards philosophy. There are two approaches towards understanding spirituality. One approach towards understanding spirituality is giving up, which is 1980. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But the other approach towards spirituality is do this, do this, do this. So now both the approaches towards spirituality are right and are considered to be the right approaches, but it depends on who you are and what your priority is. There are some people who try to focus on the don'ts. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Many spiritual paths completely focus on the don'ts. But there are spiritual paths that completely focus on the do's. Do this, do this, do this. Now, what happens when you focus on the don'ts is that you feel sad. You actually, because there is so much not to do, you feel disappointed actually. You feel frustrated. So therefore, the path of Bhakti, it recommends us to focus on the do's. It's not about giving up something, but it's about adding Krishna into our life. So when instead of saying that we need to give up this, you need to give up this, you need to give up this, just say one thing, just add Krishna into your life. Whatever is not wanted will automatically go away. That's my understanding.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I will get your book of Hanuman Chalisa, definitely.
Please, you will love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. That was wonderful. I remember from Mataji's question that we all grew up in our childhood memorizing the Hanuman Chalisa, and we would just think that these are just prayers as offering to Bajrangbali as the god. But only after reading your book and listening to you, we realize that every verse is a story by itself. And we've got the book in stock. It's Hanuman Chalisa here.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's available.
This book, every word of the Hanuman Chalisa, I have a story to explain that word.
Thank you.
So practically every single word of the Hanuman Chalisa throughout the Hanuman Chalisa is explained through medium of stories.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will definitely go for it. Yeah.
Prabhu's also written another Hanumanji book. It's called the Chronicles of Hanuman.
Okay.
So there's lots of literature available. Thank you, Prabhuji, for highlighting and presenting the Hanuman Chalisa in such an educated light for devotees to take lessons, not just sing it as a religious prayer. Thank you for all your hard work in making this presentation more practical and useful for everyone. Thank you, Mataji, for asking the question. Hare Krishna. Yes, we've got another 10-15 minutes. Any other questions, please?
Yes, Prabhu, there is one question in the chat box from Meenakshi Mataji.
Oh, okay. Right, let's have a quick look. Yes, so Meenakshi Madhavi Mataji is asking why we do not. Thank you for the wonderful class, illuminating us to the importance of Ramayana to develop true qualities as a human being and devotees. Yes, I echo thoughts. Why do we not have regular classes and preaching of Ramayana and ISKCON similar to study of Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures? Prabhuji, I'm happy for you to comment, and then we can add a little bit from what we are planning to do in Manchester.
So, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are like our bread. Ramayana and other scriptures are like jam. So once in a while we can apply a little bit of jam. so our base is Gita and Bhagavad. And I'll tell you something interesting, my own experience of studying the Ramayana. If you do not have the base of Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, and you study Ramayana, you will actually not be able to understand Ramayana properly. So my experience of studying our scriptures is that because we have such a solid base of Bhagavad Gita. See, Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic scriptures. And if you understand Bhagavad Gita, you understand philosophy properly. And based on that understanding of philosophy, you study any other scripture, you will understand it. But without studying Gita, if you study any other scripture, you will not get the right understanding. You will get very confused, basically. So therefore, my recommendation always is study Gita first. Understand Gita first. Understand philosophy first. And then there is the entire ocean of our scriptures is there for us. You study any other scripture, you will derive so much. But I can tell you my own experience that if I had not studied Prabhupada's Gita, if I had not studied Prabhupada's books, scrutinizingly, thoroughly, several times, I would not have been able to write what I'm writing. I would not have been able to analyze from the Ramayana, from Mahabharata, from many of the scriptures the way I'm doing it now. I can guarantee you my personal experience and recommendation.
Thank you once again, Prabhu. I totally agree with you. Again, remembering from what we were brought up with, Ramayana and Mahabharata were presented to us just as mythological epics, as opposed to true scriptural versions of events that really happened. So yes, thanks to Prabhupada and all the acharyas for presenting everything wonderfully in the right context, so we can really understand and take home all the lessons to apply in our own spiritual lives. On the other point, we'll obviously plan a few more sessions with Srivalash Prabhu in the future. We understand that Ramayana and Mahabharata, because of the way they are presented, have mass appeal. More people have some or the other understanding, so they relate to these scriptures also very nicely, whether they are Vaishnavas or not, or are they following any particular religious path at all, they still would appreciate Ramayana and Mahabharata. So we recognize that at ISKCON Manchester, and we'll be in touch with Shubhavilash Prabhu to conduct some workshops over a number of days to try and present the message of Ramayana and Mahabharata for us to apply in our own lives. So we'll be sending out some communication in the near future on that. Prabhu, do you want to add anything on that, or is that okay for now?
No, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, we will be in touch with Prabhuji to arrange a workshop because there is a lot of interest here in Manchester, in and around Manchester, and so many devotees will benefited from that session, and we would be eagerly looking forward to that workshop. So we'll talk to Prabhuji separately and organize that session. So there is already mention of why are we not doing so many? So yeah, that will be wonderful.
Also, Gauranga Chachpu, do you see any questions on YouTube?
I can't see any questions. Probably I have one or two, then I can ask if that is okay.
You can ask one now, yes. And then
so Shubhavilash Prabhu, thank you so much for your time once again. So you seem to working round the clock. You don't know which country you are in, which country you are delivering the lecture to. So thank you so much for your wonderful service. Really appreciate them. I know you've done a fantastic job of putting these books in a very nice form so that the current day generation can easily understand and take the message. Is there a plan of actually putting completely translating Valmiki Ramayan text by text, word for word, translation, purport, or anything like that? Is there a plan?
If I'm not mistaken, Vidwan Gaurang Prabhu is already doing it. There is one devotee from Mayapur named Vidwan Gaurang Prabhu.
Oh, Vidwan
He's already doing a verse by verse. Yeah. He's already doing. So Balakand is already out in 3 volumes, which he has done. So he is planning it. So I do not plan to go in that direction, basically, because I personally feel that my strength lies in making things relevant, basically. So if you go into that verse by verse way, usually what happens is it becomes very technical, basically.
Yeah.
So I feel that there are other devotees who probably could do it better, and Krishna has given me a particular strength which I want to capitalize on.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And what are your thoughts on Kamba Ramayan? Kamba is from Tamil, and
Kamba Ramayan is considered a very highly authentic book by Sri Vaishnavas. I can tell you a story that will help you understand it better. So when Kamba wrote his Kamba Ramayan in Tamil poetry, it's a basically Tamil poetic version of Valmiki Ramayan, basically. So when Kamba wrote his entire book, people in South India, they were really unhappy. And in fact, they felt that he is, distorted the Ramayana. Because they saw things that were not in the Valmiki Ramayana in his book, basically. And strange things. He talks about Narasimhadev in Ramayana suddenly, one section where Narasimhadev's discussion comes in. So they said, hey, what are you doing, And Kamba, he did something amazing. He was from Srirangam. Srirangam is the headquarters of Shiva Vaishnava Sampradaya. So he went to Srirangam. He went to the temple of Ranganath. And in the temple of Ranganath, there is a Narasimhadev temple. If any of you all have gone there, you will understand. Behind the temple of Ranganath, there is a Narasimhadev temple. He sat in front of Narasimhadev's temple and narrated his entire Ramayana. So there is a mandap where he sat actually and narrated the entire Ramayana, to Narasimhadev. And you won't believe it. While he was narrating the Ramayana, and when he reached the section where he writes a little bit about Narasimhadev in the Ramayana, Narasimhadev's deity, metal deity of Narasimhadev, he raised his hand like this. He was Yoga Narasimha. Both his hands are usually on his thighs. Narasimhadev raised one hand like this in the air, approving Kamba. So from that time onwards, Sri Vaishnavas absolutely follow Kamba Ramayana. They regard it very highly. If you go to the Srirangam even today, Narasimha's hand is like this, up. And that place where he sat and narrated is known as Kamma Mandap. It's recognized even today in the same way, basically. That is how we understand.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that wonderful story, Prabhu. Thank you. Kumar Prabhu, I think Lalita Preeti raised her hand.
Okay, yes. Lalita Preeti Mataji, please go ahead. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, just not a question, but a request. When you consider doing a seminar, would you mind doing one, two? Because, with the younger generation, they are not, they're not experiencing the same culture as we were raised in the, especially the human relations and the respect.
Mataji, you will be happy to know that I have developed so many workshops for children.
Okay.
I am doing workshop after workshop for kids across the world. So practically in every country across the world, I've been doing workshops for teenagers and for young children, basically. From the age of 11 to 17, 18, that age group, I've been doing a lot of workshops. Yesterday, I did a seminar for about 70 kids from Toronto, and they're all from the age of 5 to 11. I'm telling them stories. And you should have seen the videos of those kids, They were like jumping in excitement and joy, basically, just hearing all that. So I have recognized the fact that in ISKCON, especially the teenage community, the age of 11 to 17, 18 is highly neglected. For smaller kids, there is a lot. And for adults, there is a lot. But that age that's where we lose most of the kids, basically. We just get lost into the material world. So I felt responsible for doing something for those kids. So I have been doing workshops across the world for those kids. Happy to do.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, because the current generation are growing like Sita is a standard that it's not practical for nowadays, sort of. So
I speak in their language. I speak exactly in their language, the way they want to hear it and the way they want to know, and they love it. And
thank you.
So many non-devotees attended, by the way. They have no connection with this con, but when they attend these workshops, they just feel so connected, actually, because that's how these scriptures are so relevant, right? You just have to package them rightly.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I think it gives us a lot of hope. Thank you, Lalita Preeti Mataji, for inquiring and bringing our attention. I think before the adults, we might plan a session for children first. Obviously, adults would get involved anyway. So we are very, very happy to hear and excited that you've got a plan in place. It's just a case of us working out, and then we can be in touch with the devotees soon. Thank you. Anybody else with any other questions? Again, you can either type in the chat box or raise your hands or just unmute yourself and feel free to ask. We've got another 5 minutes or so before we close for today. Yes, Neeru Mataji, you can unmute yourself and ask. Just unmute yourself. Take your time. I know you're searching for the unmute button.
We can help her.
Yeah, it's just right at the bottom left. Yeah. There you go. Wonderful. Hare Krishna. Oh, you've gone to...
I just request something.
Neeru Mataji, you've gone to mute again. Someone else just spoke.
Yeah, it's Manjula here.
Manjula Mataji. Okay, Mataji, yes, please go ahead, and then Neeru Mataji, you can speak afterwards.
No, I just wanted to thank. It's been so beautiful to listen to this pravachan today. It's my first one, but I was wondering if you could have more of these in a week. It'll be really, really. It'll just keep us afloat with Ramayana much better. I really found it very, very enlightening today. It was just amazing, just out of the world, I would say. So if it's possible to have more, that would be really, really very kind.
Thank you. Thank you for the appreciation, Mataji. Yes, echoing your thoughts and sentiment, we do wish to stay continuously connected with Shri Bhavash Prabhu and bring these sessions to you. Yes, Neeru Mataji.
Okay. Hare Krishna. And Prabhuji spoke of the cave in Hampi. Yeah. So is Hampi a town where people go, or is it somewhere remote where nobody, you can't get to it? Can you get to it?
It's one of the biggest tourist destinations of India.
Okay.
A lot of people there. So the interesting thing about Hampi is that it's also in the past, a few hundred years before, it had been known as the Vijayanagar Samrajya. So Vijayanagar was a huge empire, ruled by a king named Krishna Devaraya, who was a Vaishnava king, amazing king. So he built Hampi into an amazing city. It is actually known as a city of gold. So a lot of people who go to Hampi as tourists, they go for that.
Okay.
The tourist attractions, But within that, within Hampi is hidden another spiritual part. So though it is flooded by tourists, most of the tourists don't end up in the Ramayan places. They end up in the archaeological places, basically.
Yeah. Well, this is why I asked, because I've been to a few places where, after I've been there, I find there was things for spiritual people to go, instead of just looking at buildings and seeing other things. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. There's lots and lots of appreciation coming through on the chat. One Prabhu Purushottam Prabhu has asked, Hare Krishna, we have a lot of affiliation for Lord Ram, and still, shall we take Lord Ram's? It brings a lot of peace. How is Lord Ram's Bhakti different to Lord Krishna's? That's the question.
That's a good question.
Technically, there is no difference because the way I understand it is like this. I remember, I'll tell you an experience of mine, and this is an experience I never forget in my life. One time I was traveling in a bus, maybe 8, 9 years before, and I was sitting in the bus, and one Western tourist, and I was going to Goa, So I preach in Goa a lot, right? So I keep traveling to Goa often. So one Western tourist entered the bus. Typical, if you have seen Western tourists who come to India many times, very dressed like a hippie, basically. And especially when they go to Goa, they get into some weird dresses, So he walked up to me. He saw me in dhoti kurta and tilak and all that. Straight he walked up to me. And you know what he asked me? He said, whom do you love more, Krishna, Ram, or Lord Chaitanya?
Oh gosh.
He didn't ask me my name. He didn't ask anything. Straight he asked me this question. And you know what I told him? I told him, when I read and speak about Krishna, I forget Ram and Chaitanya. When I speak about Ram, I forget Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. And when I speak about Lord Chaitanya, I forget Ram and Krishna. My understanding is all three of them are our gods. They're all the same person appearing in different ways, different yugas, with different pastimes. I don't think it is one over another. It's inclusive. I do not see why we need to have something exclusive, right? Why not everybody? Why not all the pastimes? They're all our Lord only. They're all the same, our master. So I would find it a better way to look at it, rather than looking at Krishna Bhakti, Ram Bhakti separately. For me, it's all inclusive. I hope that helps.
Thank you, Prabhu. That's amazing. Yes, you're right. We agree that all three are God in different time, place, circumstance, to give out different messages for the masses of those times. In fact, in Chaitanya Leela, we know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited the Shatabhuja form, which combines Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya as well. So thank you for clarifying that. Hare Krishna. Just going through the chat box.
There is a message inquiry from Vandana Mata is saying that where can we find your future sessions? Please, can we know about your future sessions? Prabhuji has got a YouTube channel, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, you Google me, you search for me on YouTube, just search Shubha Vilas, you'll find many, many classes. I don't even know who has put which class. Somehow it lands up on YouTube and you can hear a lot.
Yeah, thank you for
we will continue doing workshops together with ISKCON Manchester, and then we'll hear more.
Thank you for asking, Mataji. Today's session will go on YouTube very shortly. The first part is also on YouTube. And as Shrivalas Prabhu is kindly assured that we will continue to be in touch and conduct more sessions for both adults and children alike. Thank you once again for all the devotees. We had good attendance. We hope everyone had some takeaways.
Yeah.
Thank you to Shrivalas Prabhu for once again taking time from your busy schedule and enlightening us. We just have a quick couple of minutes to ask if anybody has one last question, and then we'll just go to the closer session for some announcements.
You can read the comment by Sumadar Radhika Mataji there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify. I'm sorry for interrupting there. Shrivalas Prabhu on the YouTube said that by what name are the sessions there? How can we see them?
You should just search for my name, Shubha Vilas.
Govindas, is it?
No, Shubha Vilas. Shubha Vilas.
Thank you.
Just search for my name, Shubha Vilas, and you will get lots.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for that. Thank you for asking, Mataji. And once again,
Shankar Prabhu raised his hand.
Oh yes, Shankar Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. It's very informative and elaborative. You have given a lot of information in the class. It is like hearing from one of the associate of Lord Ram and Lord Hanuman. It is like that. You are there with them and you are expressing everything. It is like that. It is very nice, Prabhuji. I don't have any questions, but I have a doubt that when Sugriva is allocating Vanaras in the 4 directions, why Ram choose one to give that gift give that ring to Hanuman? Hanuman is not the leader, only Angad is the leader, and Jambavan is also there in the team. But Ram choose only Hanuman. Is it to show that Hanuman is already a Sundar, is a great personality? And also, why Lord Ram has not given any such type of gift to other parties who are going in the. And another question, Prabhuji. Sugriva, it is told by one of the senior Vaishnava that Sugriva knows the entire geography of the universe, because Vali was chasing to kill Sugriva and Sugriva was running to escape from him. So he knows the entire geography. So why he knows where Ravana is? Why he is not sending only to that position? Because already it is known that Ravana has thrown. Ravana is taking, and Sita Mataji has thrown that jewels to that place. Why he is not sending to that place itself? Why he is sending to all the places? Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you for the nice questions. Let me answer. So the reason he chose Hanuman was because Ram has been observing Hanuman for 4 months. See, usually a lot of choices that we make in life are based on intuition. It's not always, we don't have an answer why we do some things. We just feel that this is right, There is actually a book. I don't know if you have read this book. It's called Blink by Malcolm Gladwell. It's a very good book. This book talks about how some of the most powerful decisions that have been made in the world have been made in a blink, in 1 second. And those decisions, many of them have been proven to be true. Now, how do you make such decisions? Simply because within each of us, we have a teacher or we have a guide It's known as Chaitya Guru. The Chaitya Guru directs us towards taking decisions. And of course, it is also our knowledge based on experience and based on observation combines with the Paramatma's voice that makes us take decisions. So why Hanuman was chosen was because of two reasons. One is Hanuman, Ram observed Hanuman for 4 months and he realized this person is special. The second was because Sugriva recommended to Ram that of all the people in the whole army, I trust Hanuman the most. Sugriva actually recommended Hanuman to Ram. And it's amazing if you look at this from another perspective. So Sugriva has been taking care of Hanuman for so many years, right? So Hanuman was Sugriva's assistant, servant, minister, whatever you can call it, But today, Sugriva hands over Hanuman to Ram because he realizes that everyone has to grow. Just like a fish grows to one extent in a small aquarium, but once it grows beyond the size of the aquarium, you have to put it in a pond, which is much bigger. Sugriva realizes, so long Hanuman has been under me. I am very small. But Hanuman is so huge. He can grow so huge. I need to transfer him into the ocean of Lord Ram. And Hanuman, so Sugriva actually formally hands over Hanuman to Ram. Sugriva is an amazing devotee. He is not thinking about my need. I need Hanuman. But he's thinking about Hanuman's growth. He's thinking Hanuman needs to grow. And if he's under me, there's only limited I can give him growth. Therefore, he hands over Hanuman to Ram and he tells him, this person I have the greatest confidence in. And that's the second reason why Ram chooses Hanuman with that ring, basically. As far as your second, of course, what I gave you is like a very small answer. If you really want to know the whole answer, I might have to spend 2 hours only on that discussion, basically. It's a very, very beautiful and elaborate discussion. You can find it in the 4th volume of my Ramayan series. And as far as your second question is concerned, why Ravan did not, so why Sugriva just didn't focus on Lanka? There were many reasons, but one of the prominent reasons why Sugriva did not do that was because, remember, Ravan had a flying vehicle. That flying vehicle could potentially fly anywhere in the world. He may have gone in the southern direction, but it doesn't mean that he has gone only to Lanka. He could have potentially gone anywhere. And therefore, Sugriva did not want to take any chances. So he sent the Vanaras all over the world. It was a thorough combing operation. That means at the exact same duration of time, you cover all over the world. That is the only way you can eliminate the possibility that Ravan can take her from Lanka to anywhere else. Right? He could have potentially taken her anywhere else, basically. And that is the reason why Sugriva chose to go through a thorough combing operation across the world simultaneously in 30 days. And at the same time, because there was a greatest probability of southern direction, he chose the most powerful people to go to the south. I hope it clarifies.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. It's really wonderful.
Thank you so much, Shankar Prabhu, for asking, and thank you so much, Raj Prabhu, for answering as well. All of these stories, wonderful pastimes, explained beautifully in a very simple to understand method, have been put down in Prabhuji's books. We have all his Ramayana live series also with us. And all his 16 titles are very, very lightweight but hard-hitting with amazing messages. Put together, they are only less than 7 kilos, which is like a small weight to have for the impact and the benefit it can have on your lives. So please be in touch. Dr. Mataji, did you have a question?
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Neeru Mataji. Premanatri Mataji, did you have a question? Or anybody else? We're close to closing time now. Okay, thank you so much once again, all the devotees for ISKCON Manchester and around, wherever you're dialing from today.
Wonderful session. I'd like to hand over now to Guranath Prabhu and then Radhamohan Prabhu for any announcements and closing comments. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Madhav Kumar Prabhu, for that. And Shubhavilas Prabhu, thank you so much on behalf of ISKCON Manchester. We are very grateful to you for your time and for your effort, for your wonderful service. We are very much grateful for this service. And as you can see, there is a lot of demand for Ramayan, and we will definitely be in touch with you to arrange a workshop. And hopefully we will try and fix the sound quality as well, if we can. So thank you so much for that, Shubhavilas Prabhu. Really appreciate so many wonderful lessons we have taken today. So again, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I got quick couple of announcements on behalf of Manchester. So let's see if Radhamohan Prabhu has anything to say, any comments. So I will then make a couple of final announcements.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I don't have any. Actually, I'm speechless. I don't wanted to speak anything. So there's two reasons. One is that Prabhuji always gives class. It gives a lot of satisfaction of hearing Ramayan. But at the same time, it makes us wanting more. So I end up in the class that I'm more hungry than before. So I don't know whether I should thank you or not. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for really, taking into this Ramayana. And my greatest, lesson that I take from today's class is that how we combine our study of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam with Ramayana. Because if you're not really mature, we don't really make a proper decisions, whether if I read Bhagavatam, am I missing out in Ramayana, or how should I, but really so nicely, seamlessly, combined together. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for taking this, giving a very wonderful understanding how they're all combined together. And if I just end with one small request, whenever you can do, you talked about that was the first Ram Katha was done by Hanumanji to Sita. So maybe someday, maybe you can do a series of classes where just, how Hanumanji narrated Ramayana to Mother Sita. That'll be really, I look forward to that.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. As I said, that's just Sundarkand of Ramayana. I have spoken for almost like 12 hours. So, we can just zoom on to one small section and can go really deep in that section, basically. So these are, the amount of wisdom that is there here in the Ramayana is just, it's an ocean.
Yeah. Prabhuji, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your time.
Thank you for your kindness. I'm grateful to.
And wish you all the safety in the COVID time, Prabhuji. And please just stay on your seat. Don't go anywhere. Just keep doing Ramayana.
Yes. I have enough reasons to stay inside.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. There is one comment from Sumedha Radhika Mataji. I would like to read it out. Prabhuji, you are absolutely brilliant, amazing, awesome. My words cannot describe, but it was mind-blowing. Please, can you arrange a tour to Ayodhya so we can see the right places and feel presence of Lord Ram? Please, you would be the perfect person to go with. Have you got any plans?
Yes, someday when things are better.
Okay, yes. So when things are better, yeah. Okay, so thank you.
I have done a virtual tour of Ayodhya, on YouTube.
Oh.
So if you all want, I can share the link of that, that might help you all for the time being.
Oh yes, that would be good.
We did last year a virtual tour of many holy places, of which I did Ayodhya also, So I can share the link with Radhamohan Prabhu and Madhav Kumar Prabhu, and then you all can share it with the rest of the people,
Yeah.
Or you can search on YouTube also.
Okay, so thank you very much, Vilas Prabhu. And coming back to our quick couple of announcements. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Quick couple of announcements. As you are all aware that the government is relaxing rules, lockdown relaxations. So we are watching it and observing closely, and we are also aware that there is an Indian variant in UK, and there are more cases as well. But what we will do is we will sit down and think and what we can do, and we will let the congregation know how we going to proceed with that regarding opening the temple. And this coming Friday we have Bhajan Sandhya. So please make a note of it. Do you know Madha Kumar Prabhu who will be doing the kirtan?
Yes, Friday, every third Friday of the month. So coming Friday, we will have Her Grace Chaitanya Chintamani Mataji all the way from Leicester. She's also a very nice Kirtaniya, very celebrated devotee amongst the Kirtaniya circles. So we'll send an invite out shortly. Please keep a lookout and stay with us. 7:30 coming Friday, 21st of May.
Okay, so thank you very much. Is Grace Shubhalas Prabhu ki jai.
Yay.
Bolo Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai.
Yay.
Jai Gaura Premanande.
Hari
Jai.
Hari Bol.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank